The stars were quiet that night, in the deep part of space. Near the edge of the Andromeda expanse, everything was still. Ships passed slowly, scanning for danger or rare minerals. No one expected anything strange. But then, something happened. A signal came from the dark. Not just any signal, it was old, broken, and full of fear. It didn't match any known alien language. It didn't sound robotic. It sounded human, on board a galactic patrol ship named Varela. A young communication officer named Lintar picked it up. He blinked twice, trying to fix the sound. Static. Then a voice crying. "Help us. This is Earth." Repeat. "Earth. Please." Lintar froze. He had studied languages from over 1,000 species. But this one wasn't in any file. Still, he understood the fear in the voice. Something inside him whispered, "This is important." He called the ship's captain. Captain Drav came in, his eyes tired, his armor old. "What now?" he asked, annoyed. Lintar replayed the signal. When the voice cried again, even Drav stood still. The room fell silent. "Where did this come from?" Captain asked. Lintar checked the coordinates. It came from the Ghost Zone, Sector 9X. Near the black mist belt, the captain frowned. "No one lives there. No one goes there. It's a dead zone. Then why is someone crying for help?" Lintar whispered. They sent the signal to Central Command. Within hours, it spread across the coalition. A special group known as the Language Corps tried to decode it. They failed. Still, the message was clear in tone. Someone was begging. Someone was scared, and someone said the word Earth, but in all the stars. There was no record of a planet called Earth, no race named human, no culture that matched this sound. Yet the voice wouldn't stop. It played again and again. Sometimes clear, sometimes full of static, sometimes a scream, and always at the end Earth. Please. In the great council hall of the Galactic Coalition, leaders from every race gathered. The hall was full of tension. The cold-blooded Varlics hissed with unease. The psychic Zithians sat in silence. Even the proud Urdor stayed. Quiet, no one knew what to say, until Commander Threx, old and scarred, stepped forward. "I've heard screams before," he said, "but this one shook something deep inside me. What if it's a trick?" The Drell ambassador asked, "What if someone is using this voice to lure us into a trap?" "No one sends a scream like that for a trap," Threx replied. The council argued for hours. But in the end, they agreed to send a ship to investigate. Only one ship, and only one team, if it was dangerous. They could escape if it was real. The stars would never be the same again. The mission was given to a special crew aboard the ship Starlance. The captain was Zarice, part machine, part warrior, all loyal. She had seen war, but she had never seen fear like this before departure. She listened to the signal. Her metal hand shook just slightly. "Earth," she whispered. She looked at her Team 6 of the best explorers and fighters in the coalition. No one spoke, but they all knew. Something was waiting for them in the dark. Something lost, something old. As the Starlance flew into the ghost sector, lights faded. The stars around them were dim, cold. Broken ships floated silently, wrecks from wars long forgotten. And somewhere in that dead zone, a voice kept calling, crying, begging, "Help us. This is Earth." No one knew what they would find. No one knew what Earth really meant. But deep inside every member of the crew, there was a strange feeling. Like the past was reaching out from the shadows, like a door was about to open, and behind it was the beginning of something huge, something that would change the galaxy forever. In the heart of the Coalition's homeworld, the Great Council Hall stood like a mountain of silver and glass. Inside, the most powerful leaders from across the galaxy had gathered. There had been wars, famines, and even black hole events before, but nothing had ever brought so many races together in such fear. It's not like this strange signal, not like the name Earth. Chancellor Dravel, a three-eyed being with skin like melted stone, stood at the center of the round chamber. He raised his voice so all could hear. "The voice has spoken again," he said, more clearly this time. A recording played for the room. Everyone listened. "Please, if anyone hears this, we are survivors. This is Earth. Help us." Gasps filled the air. Some delegates looked around, confused. Others shifted uncomfortably. The voice wasn't just scared, it was lonely. And that loneliness echoed across species, across systems. Across hearts, the Zithian speaker who wore a hood and spoke only through thought sent a clear message into the minds of everyone, this emotion. "I feel pain, not deception," the Varkan warlord, covered in thick armor made of star turtle shells, slammed a heavy fist on the table. "This could still be a trick," he growled, "an old weapon waking up, trying to pull us in, but—" "Why say Earth?" asked the small, glowing ambassador from the Inari race. "I searched our records," she continued. "No planet by that name has ever been logged. No species called human has ever filed contact." That silence hit harder than any weapon. The Coalition had mapped galaxies, made contact with thousands of worlds, yet this Earth had never even appeared once. Like a ghost, it existed in no files. But the signal was real, and someone was alive. Commander Threx stood up, his armor creaking with age. He had survived the Dark Nebula conflict and lived through the burning of the Drax worlds. He was respected by all. "I don't care if it's a trap," he said, voice deep and steady. "That voice is real. And someone is begging for help." Some nodded in agreement, others still hesitated. "It could be an ancient enemy," hissed the Drell diplomat. "Something erased from history." "That's the problem," said Threx. "Why would someone erase an entire species? A whole planet? It takes power and fear then?" Something even more shocking happened. The core historian, robotic AI who had stored 10 million years of star records, flickered to life. "I have a match," it said. Everyone turned to look. The AI displayed a faded star map, dusty old, broken in places. At the far edge, near the black mist belt, was a small blue dot, planet code 0329ZX Nation. "Earth." The room exploded in noise. "You had this the whole time?" someone shouted. "It was hidden," the AI replied, "filed under forbidden research." The Chancellor slammed his staff. "Who forbade it?" he demanded. The AI paused, then said something that made everyone go silent again. "The order came from the First Coalition, 11,000 years ago. That was before half the current races had even reached space, before many were born, before war turned to peace. Someone long ago had buried Earth from the stars. Why? No one had answers. "I say, we send a team," Threx said again, louder. "One ship, one crew." The room agreed reluctantly. "We must be careful," the Chancellor warned. "If this is real, if these humans exist, they may not be like us. They may be worse," someone whispered, or Threx thought silently. They may be better. Soon, the order went out. A special exploration vessel, Starlance, was chosen. It was fast, quiet, and had the best tech for deep sector travel. Captain Zarice was selected to lead. She was not fully organic half. Her body had been rebuilt after a mine explosion. But her mind was sharp, and her loyalty was beyond doubt. She stood on the deck of her ship as final checks were made. The signal played one last time before departure. Elena's voice, tired, shaking, still alive, echoed through the bridge. "Please. We don't have much time." Zarice didn't blink. She turned to her crew, a mixed group of scientists, warriors, and pilots. "No weapons unless needed," she said. "We are not going to fight. We are going to remember." And with that, the Starlance vanished into the dark, chasing a voice, chasing the past, chasing Earth. The ship Starlance moved slowly into the ghost sector. Outside the window, the stars looked different. Dimmer, colder, almost like they were afraid to shine. Captain Zarice stood still at the center of the bridge. She watched as her crew ran. Scans and checked systems. Everyone felt the same thing, like something was watching them. But there was nothing on the radar report, Zara said quietly. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were sharp. Lieutenant Vero, the ship's pilot, spoke first. "We passed the black mist belt. Sensors are acting strange, maybe interference." Then came Tillin, the ship's science officer. "I'm picking up pieces of wrecked ships, some over 9,000 years old. Any life signs?"
Yes,
Zaris asked. No, Tillin answered, but something else is here. Something old. The ghost sector was once a battleground, a place where entire fleets had vanished. No one came here anymore. Legends said the sector was cursed. Others believed it held secrets the Coalition didn't want found, the distress. Signal was still coming from one planet, small, green, and blue, orbiting a dying star. Tillin looked at the screen. This planet shouldn't be here. Said it's not in our maps, not in any records, but it's real. And that's where the signal is coming from, Zaris said, her eyes narrowed. Bring us down. The Starlinks dropped into the planet's atmosphere. Clouds wrapped around the ship like smoke. Winds hit the hull with strange pressure. Then the view cleared. They saw forests, mountains, rivers, and broken buildings covered in green vines. But no people, no ships, no sign of life. They landed near a wide, flat field with broken roads and rusted machines. The planet was quiet, too quiet. Birds didn't sing. The wind didn't whistle. It felt frozen. Gear up, Zaris ordered. A small team stepped out of the ship in sealed suits, ready for anything. Their boots crunched on old stone and metal. The buildings looked like they belonged to a lost world. Some had collapsed. Others stood half-ruined. Tillin checked his scanner. The signal is nearby, said 30 meters east. They followed a cracked path to a round building. Mostly buried in vines, an old door sat half open. Inside, Zaris said. Gun ready. They entered slowly. Flashlights moved across dark walls. There were machines, dusty and dead. Screens were smashed. Chairs were overturned, but in the middle of the room was a small, glowing device, a beacon, blinking weakly, and next to it, a chair. The team stopped. Weapons raised, the chair turned, slowly, with a creaking sound, and in it sat a woman, thin, pale. Her clothes torn and faded, she looked up with tired eyes, blue eyes filled with pain and strength. Finally, she whispered, "Ow." Her voice was dry, weak, but still full of power. Took you long enough, Zaris froze. This was the voice from the signal. This was Earth. This was the human? Who are you? Zaris asked, lowering her weapon slightly. The woman stood up slowly, her legs shaky. Lena Ward, she said, communication officer, United Nations Starship, Dawnfire, Earth Alliance. Earth Alliance meant nothing to the crew, but they listened. Anyway, I crashed here 37 years ago, she said. I've been sending the signal ever since. Alone. Tillin asked, shocked. Alina nodded. They all died. One by one, I kept the beacon alive, she added, because someone had to remember us. Zaris felt something strange in her chest, a heaviness. You are human. She asked. Alina looked at her, confused. You don't know what that means, do you? No, Zaris replied. Alina's face darkened. Then we were truly erased outside. The wind began to blow harder. Storm clouds gathered fast. The planet seemed to wake up, like it knew something had changed. Zaris turned to her team. We take her back, she said. This is bigger than all of us, as they helped Alina walk. She paused at the doorway. She looked at the broken sky. It was never supposed to be like this, she whispered, and the signal after all those years finally stopped blinking. Earth had been found, but the truth behind its silence was only just beginning. Alina Ward sat quietly in the medical bay of the Starlinks. Her eyes stared at the metal walls as the ship flew away from the ghost sector. She had not seen the inside of a starship in over 30 years. The bright lights hurt her eyes, the clean air felt too cold, too fresh, and the silence around her. It wasn't peaceful. It was unfamiliar. Captain Zaris watched her from across the room. The human looked fragile, skin pale, bones sharp under worn skin, but her presence felt powerful. Like something important was sitting right there, alive. Against all odds, you look like you have questions, Lena said. Her voice still rough. Zaris nodded slowly. What happened to your ship? She asked. Alina took a deep breath. We were on a deep space research mission. She said, our goal was to explore the far edges of mapped space. Didn't know what was waiting beyond. She closed her eyes, remembering, we found something strange, an old artifact on a moon, ancient, pulsing with energy. The moment we touched it, everything changed. Zaris leaned forward. What do you mean? Alina opened her eyes. Our systems went dead. The ship was pulled into a gravity well. We crashed on that planet. Only 12 of us survived the landing. Her voice trembled. We tried to repair what we could, tried to send signals, but over time, sickness, storms, accidents, one by one they died. And you? Zaris asked gently. I was the communications officer, Alina said. My job was to keep the beacon alive. She smiled sadly. It was all I had left. I kept. Hoping someone would hear, Zaris said nothing for a moment. Then she asked, why didn't the coalition know about Earth? Alina looked down at her hands. I don't know, she said softly, but something strange happened before. We launched. Our ship was delayed for weeks. Messages between Earth colonies started to disappear. And then, we lost contact with the main fleet. She looked up, eyes dark with fear. It's like someone wanted us lost. The science officer Tillin walked into the room with a data pad. Captain, he said, you need to see this. Zaris stood up and walked over. Tillin showed her the test results from Elena's blood. This shouldn't be possible, he said. She's not just human. She's advanced. Alina raised an eyebrow. What do you mean advanced? Tillin looked nervous. Your DNA is older than ours, said Richer. More complex. You have dormant traits we've only seen in ancient species. He paused. You're not just lost. You might be the original. The room went silent. Zara stared at Alina. You're saying humans came first? It's a theory, Tillin said, but the data supports it. Alina leaned back in the chair. Her mind spun with questions. Then why is no one looking for us? She asked. Why did no one come? Zaris stepped closer. There's something more, she said. In your beacon there was a hidden file. It was encrypted. It's very old. We unlocked it. Alina sat up straight. What did it say? Zaris looked into her eyes. It was from your captain, it said. They feared us, so they erased us. Alina went cold. Her hands shook slightly. That can't be true, she whispered. We were explorers. Not conquerors, but... What if fear wasn't about what you did? Zara said quietly. What if it was about what you could become? The silence grew heavier. Alina stood and walked to the viewing window. Stars stretched beyond her vision. So many, so endless. Earth is out there, she said. I know it. And if someone buried our name, they didn't bury our spirit. Zara stood beside her. We'll find the truth, she said. Alina looked at her and smiled for the first time. Then let's start digging. Far. Behind them, the planet where she had waited began to disappear into the shadows. But ahead lay light and truth, and maybe a galaxy that had forgotten something important. Alina Ward had survived, not just for herself, but for all of humanity. And now, the stars would hear her voice again. The medical bay was silent except for the soft hum of machines. Captain Zaris stood with Tillin and the ship's chief medic. Dr. Julo, in the center of the room, a screen showed moving data, complex gene patterns, and chemical structures. All of it came from Elena's blood, and none of it made sense. Explain it again, Zara said quietly. Dr. Julo pointed to the screen. These genes are not just human, he said. They contain markers that match over 40 known species. That's impossible, Zaris said. Dr. Julo nodded. It should be, but it's real. Some of these genes are only found in the Zithians. Others match the Varkon line. A few even appear in species that have no known homeworld. Tillin added, we always believed evolution worked separately on each world. But if Elena's DNA has pieces of all of them, then maybe humans didn't come after us. Maybe they came before. Zaris stared at the screen. What are you saying? Tillin looked at her, his voice almost a whisper. Alina might be proof that humanity is the root species, the original tree. Behind them, Lena stood in the doorway. She had overheard everything. Her face was pale, not from fear, but from the weight of it all. So we're not just lost, she said. We're ancient. Zaris turned to face her. You are more than a survivor. You may be the beginning of everything. Alina walked in slowly, eyes on the screen. I was just trying to stay alive, she said. Now I find out we might be the oldest race in the stars. She took a seat. I don't know whether to feel proud or afraid.
Doctor?
Dr. Gulo hesitated. There's more, he said. We also found genetic blocks. Parts of her DNA were locked, as if someone tried to hide or disable them. Alina raised an eyebrow. Hide what? Abilities, Julo said. Memory, healing, speed, maybe more. Tillin nodded. It's like someone didn't want humans to reach their full potential. Zaris folded her arms. If someone feared what humans could become, they may have tried to stop it before it ever happened. Not through war, she said, but through silence. Alina looked away. My captain once said, she whispered, the stars are wide, but fear is deeper, I think he knew. Zara sat beside her. There's something else, she said in the encrypted beacon. Your captain left coordinates. They lead to a location far beyond Coalition space, Elena's. Eyes lit up. That might be Earth. It might be where the truth lives. Tillin looked nervous. That space is marked forbidden in our maps. No ships go there. Anyone who tries disappears. Zaris didn't blink. Then. We'll be the first to come back. Later, the crew gathered in the command room. Zaris played a message from Elena's captain. His voice was tired, filled with pain and purpose. If this message is found, he said, then they've silenced us. We were explorers, not enemies. But the Coalition feared what humans might become. They erased our name. Our home, our past. But someone will remember. Someone will bring Earth back to the stars. The message ended. No one spoke. Then Zaris stood, her voice strong. Alina Ward was not just waiting for rescue. She was waiting for justice. Alina looked around the room. These beings weren't human, but their eyes held respect. I didn't think anyone would believe me, she said. Zaris smiled. We believe because the stars do not lie. Tillin set a course, coordinates locked. He said, destination unknown. As the star lance turned, its engines glowing bright, Alina stood at the front window. She watched the stars stretch and blur as the ship jumped forward. This time, she wasn't a survivor. She was a messenger, a key to a history stolen, and a voice for a world forgotten. Whatever waited at the other end. She would face it, because now the truth was in the blood. And truth cannot be erased forever. The Star Lance moved through deep space, far from Coalition borders, the stars outside were strange and quiet. Old maps called this region the Silent Stretch. No signals, no stations, no life, but now. The Starlance was heading toward forbidden space, toward the place where Earth's truth was buried. Alina stood at the bridge window, arms crossed, eyes wide. The stars here didn't shine like before. They blinked, dimmed, and disappeared quickly. As if the light itself didn't want to stay, she turned to Zaris. Are you sure we're not being followed? Zaris glanced at Tillin, who checked the sensors again. No ships on radar, he said. But I feel something, Alina whispered. Zaris trusted her. A human who survived alone for decades couldn't be wrong about danger. Suddenly alarms flashed red. The ship shook just a little, but enough to alert the crew. Incoming object, shouted Vero. Not a ship. Something small, moving fast. Tillin pulled the image onto the screen. A dark spiked drone glided silently behind them. Had no lights, no signal, just silent movement, like a ghost. That's old tech. Zaris muttered, pre-coalition design. Alina stared at it. I've seen that before, she said. It was flying near our crash site. Years ago, Zaris stood up straight. They were watching you even after your ship went down. Why would they do that? Asked Tillin, confused. To make sure no one survived, Alina said coldly. But I did, the drone began. To speed up, its systems locked onto the Starlance. Red lights blinked. A beam started to charge. Weapons. Zaris asked. Not powerful enough to destroy us, said Vero. But it's targeting our communication system. They want to stop us from sending a message. Not today, Alina said, walking to the control panel. What are you doing? Asked Dr. Julo. I was the comms officer, she replied. I know how to block signal jammers. She typed fast, hands moving with sharp memory. Give me access to your interface, she told Tillin. He hesitated but nodded. She connected into the ship's system. For a moment, everything went black. Then a burst of white light flashed across the screen. The drone froze mid-space. Alina grinned. I gave it a virus. The drone exploded. tiny sparks vanishing into the dark. Everyone cheered except Cerise. She still looked serious. They sent one, she said. There may be more, Tillin nodded. This isn't random, he said. They knew exactly when to strike. We're not just being watched, we're being hunted. Back in her room, Elena stared at the piece of the drone they recovered. It was marked with a symbol, a star inside a triangle. Her eyes widened. This was from the Black Archive, she whispered. Cerise entered quietly. You recognize it? Elena nodded. Before we launched, Earth had many warnings. Ships vanished. Messages got blocked. Some of our leaders believed there was a hidden group, a secret force in the galaxy trying to erase us. They called it the Quiet Order. Cerise stepped closer. I've heard that name, but only in whispers. It was said they protected peace by hiding dangerous truths. Like humans, Elena said. Cerise looked at the symbol again. They're still out there, she said, and they know we're coming later. At the strategy room, the crew gathered again. Zaris brought up the hidden coordinates from Elena's beacon. This is our destination, she said. A planet marked unknown, but surrounded by blacklisted zones. No coalition ship has. Ever passed that border? Dr. Julo frowned. What if they have weapons waiting? Zaris looked at Elena. What if the truth is worse than weapons? Tillin checked his systems. Hyperdrive is ready, he said. But once we cross that zone, we may lose all outside connection. Zaris turned to her crew. We've come this far, she said. We found the first human we discovered. A lie. Now it's time to bring light to what's been hidden. Elena stood beside her. Her voice calm but strong. For thousands of years, someone tried to erase us. But you heard my voice, she said, looking at each crew member. You listened when no one else did? Zaris gave the final command. Engage the drive. In a flash of blue light, the Starlance jumped forward through darkness, through silence. Toward the place no one dared visit, the hunt had begun. But it wasn't just for the ship. It was for the truth, and for the return of the race the stars had forgotten until now. The ship Starlance dropped out of hyperspace with a sudden jolt. Before them stretched a field of ancient wreckage ships from lost eras. Broken satellites and floating debris. In the center of it all was a quiet planet, dark green oceans swirling. Under a thick white sky, this was the place. The hidden world. The last key to the mystery of Earth. Elena stood at the front of the bridge. Her heart beat fast. She had waited decades for this. She didn't know if this planet held answers, memories, or just more silence, but she was ready. Zaris gave the order to descend. The ship moved carefully through the floating metal graveyard. Some wrecks still had power, flickering red lights that watched them pass. Elena noticed them and whispered, eyes from the past. They landed on a flat, icy plain. A set of towers stood nearby. Half buried in snow, each one shaped like a triangle pointed at the sky. Zaris led the team out of the ship. The wind was strong, but the air was breathable. They stepped into the frozen silence. Elena walked ahead, following an old feeling she couldn't explain. Like something in her blood knew where to go. The towers were silent, covered in frost. Then, as she touched one, a hum rose in the air. The snow shook, and lights began to flicker beneath their feet. A doorway opened, deep and dark, leading underground. Zaris nodded. We go together. The path below was lined with strange symbols. Not in any known language, but Elena could read them somehow. She knew the meaning. History, she whispered. These walls tell our story. They entered a wide room glowing with soft blue light. The center was a large table, circular, with glowing crystals at its edge. When Elena stepped closer, the crystals lit up. A voice spoke clear, calm and unmistakably human. Welcome home. The room changed. Images floated in the air. A galaxy map appeared, showing thousands of planets. Then, one by one, lights began to vanish from the map. Whole civilizations disappeared. And in the center, Earth blinked and faded. The voice continued. They erased us to protect themselves. We grew too fast, too strong, too curious. So they buried our name, broke our ships, and scattered our people. But we left a seed behind. Tears filled Elena's eyes. This is our memory, she said. This is the proof. Zara stepped beside her. This changes everything, she said. This is not just about history. This is about justice. Tillin tapped his communicator. No signal, he said. We're cut off from the coalition. They don't want this to get out, Alina said. Zarice nodded. Then we'll carry it back ourselves. But as they turned to leave, the room shook. Explosions echoed above. A drone swarm had followed them. Black machines cutting through the snow. The quiet order had arrived. They wanted to finish what they started. Zarice drew her weapon. Hold them off, she ordered. But the drones were fast, deadly. Tillin was hit in the leg. Dr. Julo shielded him with his body. The fight grew intense. Then, something unexpected happened. The crystals on the table burst with light. A wave of energy flew out. Alina stood. In the center, eyes glowing bright, her hidden genes had awakened. She raised her hand. The drones stopped mid-air, frozen. Enough, she said, her voice echoing like thunder. You buried us, but you cannot bury truth. The drones fell, lifeless. Silence returned. Zarice looked at Alina in awe. You didn't just survive. She said, you became the voice of your people. They gathered what they could, data, recordings, history, and the activation codes of the room. Then they returned to the Starlands. As the ship rose, the planet below glowed with soft blue lights. The towers sent signals into space, not just a message, but a memory, a call. Humanity remembers when. They finally broke through the communication barrier. Aris opened a channel to the coalition. She didn't wait for permission. She sent the message from Earth's vault to every system, every council, every world. The stars lit up with responses. Some cheered, some feared, but all listened. For the first time in 11,000 years. Humanity spoke to the galaxy again. Alina looked at the stars. We are not your enemy, she said. We are your beginning, and now your future. The stars had forgotten, but the stars would remember now, because the truth had returned, and her name was human.